This podcast is part of the Batman Universe Podcast Network, hosted by the BatmanUniverse.net. Check out everything related to Batman and the entire Bat family at the BatmanUniverse.net, including news and original content related to comics, movies, television, merchandise, video games, and more. Also, check out some of the other unique podcasts that TBU has to offer. Consider supporting this podcast by becoming a patron on Patreon. Even $1 can go a long way in supporting this content that you enjoy. Look for a link over at thebatmanuniverse.net to offer your support now. And now, on with the show.
Scarecrows frightened of the clouds, laughing boys. I am a Batman. I am a Batman. Shine that signal, come out to play. I am a Batman. I am a Batman. Bring it on, Batman. Jump out your cave, 'cause I am a Batman. I am a Batman. Shine that signal, come out and play. I am a Batman.
Hello, everybody. No, your ears do not deceive you. Yes, we are back finally with a new episode and our first of 2023 as we kick off our 11th year of podcasting. We made it past that 10-year mark, and even though it took a little longer than we're used to, we're finally starting year 11 for the Bat-Fans podcast. Dane, how is it going?
You just said it, Tim. Year 11. I can't believe we've done this for this long.
I know 10 felt like a landmark, obviously, but even saying 11 still feels like it's still like a milestone being over that decade.
You know, I want to say this is the longest thing I've ever done consistently.
Really?
Yeah, for 11 years. Outside of like, I like Star Wars or I like Batman, right?
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
Something that you're actually doing. No. I'm
Yeah.
trying to think I think this has now lasted longer than when I was in a band as a teenager. I think that lasted about 10 years where we were actively practicing and doing shows. So yes,
Yeah.
this might be the same for me too.
Playing baseball, maybe?
mm,
Yeah. I think this beats, well, for me anyway, playing baseball.
okay.
Yeah.
See, I can't really say baseball. I mean, obviously played little softball games as a kid and catch and all that stuff a lot, but
Yeah.
actual baseball game where it's like 9-on-9 actual team and you're playing hardball, I've actually never done. So I can't say I can count that as something I've done.
Oh, you've never played like Little League?
No, never did that.
I see.
There's always just games with like friends and neighborhood kids but sometimes with like some of the adults try to organize it, but it'd be like too many kids, so it's like 15 on a team with like 6 outfielders.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because about 2 years ago I had to stop playing softball. One of my coworkers, my boss, in fact, he was part of a just an amateur softball, high pitch softball team.
Uh-huh.
And I just couldn't keep up with the games. Like it was like every weekend, sometimes twice a week. I just couldn't keep up with it. So I had to lay down my bat and glove for the last time too. 2 years ago.
I'll see. So you chose the podcast over baseball. I'm so honored, Dave.
I did.
That
I
means
did,
a lot.
Tim. I laid it down for our friendship.
See, 11 years and going strong, and going as strong as ever.
But anyway, this wouldn't be a podcast, Tim, without a name and B, without a random question.
Of
from
course,
me
we got to
to
start
you.
we got to start the year off right.
Yeah.
Here in February.
In the middle of February, almost. No, it is, or a couple days, right? Okay, Tim. Who was your first celebrity autograph?
First celebrity autograph.
Yeah.
Does it have to be where I actually got it, or could it be someone else got it for me type thing?
You got it.
Because there's not many.
Yeah. Well, same thing with me. I mean, yeah.
I guess where I actually did it, I guess it would be Weezer actually. They did a
Weezer.
they did a
Wow.
signing at a local Best Buy back in 2009,
Mm.
and I went down. It was literally like down the street from where I lived. So I went there. I got the newest CD release at the time, Ratitude, signed by them, which was cool. So that was probably the first that I've gotten where I was actually there and I saw them sign it.
I see.
But it's kind of similar to the person I was remembering where I actually saw an autograph for kind of celebrity or group that I liked was my dad actually got Pat Smear's autograph from the Foo Fighters randomly
Really?
at an airport. Yeah. And he said, like, Pat had like a surprised look on his face, like, man, this kind of older guy actually knows our band.
I was about to say.
Yeah.
How did your dad know who Pat Smear was? The Nirvana and the Germs.
Well, not the Germs, but definitely Nirvana and Foo Fighters.
Right.
My dad kept up to the music we were listening to, so especially with like the bands we love, like Foo Fighters during that time. So he knew who Pat Smear was, and when he saw him, he was like, "Oh, Pat." And he had him sign like some of his work papers because my dad was at the airport for work, and he just had him sign this random paperwork he had from his job.
And where did your dad work?
He was working for TV Guide at the time, and so he
I
visited
see.
different stores. But apparently, I guess he had a store he had to go to at an airport that day, so that's what he ran into.
I see. Well, at least it was a TV guide. It wasn't like some like engineering document or something.
Oh yeah, something important that he needed.
Wow, cool dad.
Yeah,
I gotta
definitely.
say, Tim.
So
Cool dad.
I don't know where that's at though right now. I gotta be honest.
Oh man. All right. That was my question, Tim.
All right, I had to think about it a little bit, but at least I was able to give you two answers.
Yeah.
All right, so now it's time for the big reveal. Our name for 2023. And we had plenty of time to think about it. So the name we've come up with, because it has to do with our delay in releasing an episode, because it was all because of me. It was a series of unfortunate circumstances that happened for me over the past month. So our name for 2023 is going to be, fittingly so, It's All Tim's Fault. So everyone, welcome to the first episode of It's All Tim's Fault. Will this episode be a good one? Or will it be a bad one? Either way, it'll be my fault regardless.
Well, only if it's a bad one. It's all Tim's fault. But if it's a good one, it's everybody's fault. It's everybody's.
I thought you were going to say
Yeah,
if it's a good one, it's all because of Dane.
Oh yeah, I'm not that good, Tim. I don't think I could. I don't think I could do a podcast by myself.
We never
Like you
tried
did.
that with Bat-Fans. I know I've done a few by myself, which
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of doing and don't plan on doing again.
It's kind of like a one-man play, right?
Yeah.
It's like if you falter, it's all on you.
I will say it does feel
No.
weird at first doing it, but as you go along, it starts feeling kind of normal where I just look at it as an episode where I'm just doing most of the talking, where it's something that's a topic I'm really interested in discussing. Because there are those periods where sometimes where I'm talking about something and Dane doesn't say a word for like 15 minutes. So but sometimes I look at these episodes where I record by myself. But the first one I ever did was that was weird. It was for the Saga
Yeah.
Continues, where it was like our fourth episode and it was under like 8 minutes or something like that. I could not drag that thing out. And so we dubbed it the Kessel Run since it was so short. Was the name of that episode. It was like, after that, I was like, nope, never, not doing that again unless absolutely necessary.
Yeah, it's like you gotta ask yourself while you're doing it. Like, am I
Like,
crazy or
is
talking
it
to
really
myself?
worth it doing this now, or can it not wait for later? Till the gang's all
Yeah,
there.
yeah, right. Well, it's a good thing we're both here. We're both back, Tim.
Yes,
We're ready to talk about.
a
We
lot
got a
of
lot of
things.
stuff. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff to talk about, Tim.
So yeah, but of course, before we get into everything, we got to kick off the episode like we always do by continuing our commentary, our minute commentary, I should say, for the Fellowship of the Ring. And we are on minute 37. And Dane, I just noticed this right now. This is a good sign. We're at minute 37, but do you see what the remaining time is for the movie that we have left?
Oh God, Tim. Really?
Yes.
3:11:09.
Yep. We're exactly 3 hours and 11 minutes left of this podcast or this commentary. This is a milestone. The 37 is not a milestone, but the fact that we have 3 hours and 11 minutes remaining is a huge milestone.
Yeah, it is, I guess, for you, Tim.
No, it's for everybody. Everybody
For
understands how
everybody.
huge this is. Okay, so now that we got that all out of the way, grab your relevant physical media, such as your VHS copy, your DVD copy, your HD DVD copy, your Betamax tape, your Laserdisc copy, your DVHS copy. Grab your Blockbuster membership and go rent it at the one Blockbuster remaining. Grab your Netflix physical media, take it out of the red envelope and stick it into your DVD player. And if you're like me and Dane, you got to grab the best version of it, your pausing for suspense. But reality, I was trying to remember the name of it. Your
Yeah.
VHS converted DVD copy. Yes, how could I forget that? Our Rush showing already after this long of a
Yeah.
day. But I forgot about that, the best version of physical media. So.
Yeah, you also forgot the most important handheld
That's right.
media format.
How can I forget your UMD copy?
Your 4-disc UMD copy.
I have a feeling it'd be more than 4 discs if Lord of the Rings
Yeah,
came out on the UMD.
yeah, probably like 17 of them. You
Yeah,
need like
yeah.
17.
I would probably buy it
last-
if they had it released, though.
The last 5 are just the credits.
Yeah. Oh man, I miss those days.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yes. Regardless, since we don't have those copies, we'll make do with what we have. So
yeah,
I'll go ahead and give the countdown. Dane, are you ready?
I am, Tim.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, play. As we see Gandalf remove the ring from the fire and tells Frodo it's quite cool. And now we're down to 3 hours and 10 minutes. The 3:11 did not last very long. Much to my
How would you
disappointment.
know? How would you know that it's not cool? It's cool and it doesn't get hot. Well, I guess it didn't melt, right?
Maybe Gandalf. But part of his studies that he was researching in Gondor revealed that the One Ring wouldn't be heated if put in the fire. Just reveal the writing and the markings.
I wonder how many people got married, right, and have that inscription on their rings.
Right.
Yeah.
Or at least maybe not the actual words that are inscribed there, but their vows or something in the Elvish writing.
Yeah. Right.
That would be actually really cool. And the classic line, maybe the most iconic line out of all of Tolkien's writings.
Is there a more iconic line? Fly, you fools.
That's another one. Yeah, I would.
You
put
shall
that
not.
on it. I was gonna say you shall not pass probably
pass.
over that,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it turned into a meme, as well as Sean Bean, right?
Yeah.
Saying, "You don't simply walk into Mordor."
Yeah. Well, I guess the one that's not popular because of a meme would be the lines right
Yeah.
there, the description on the ring. I should say, since we're still talking about Lord of the Rings, I watched last night because I just saw, I happened to see it was on HBO Max. It was only a little over an hour. Was the 1970s animated Hobbit movie, which I don't think I've ever seen all the way through. I remember seeing it bits and pieces as a kid, but
Yeah.
for its animation, I really like the animation for it. But man, does it move at a blistering pace?
Yeah, I was about to say, like, what did they cut, and like what scenes did they make really short?
Pretty much everything's really short.
I
They
see.
got most of the big moments from the book in there, but they're just extremely short.
Yeah.
And
Well, I mean, I was really thinking about it, Tim. Um, like these big epics, right? Like Lord of the Rings or Moby Dick or Dracula, these classic books, right?
mhm.
So Lord of the Rings is essentially starts off is um an estate conflict, right? And then Moby Dick, yeah, they kill the whale, but um it's mostly just the history of whaling and coins and just random things, right? Um Dracula is essentially just a real estate sale.
Really? See, I never knew that about them.
But Dracula?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the first guy you're introduced to is a real estate agent, essentially. I mean, they call him a solicitor or a lawyer, but I mean he's just trying to. Dracula wants to buy a flat in London. That's how it starts off. And Moby Dick, yeah, call me Ishmael, and they go out on the boat and stuff. But most of that book, I'd say like a good 80% of that book is the history of whaling and like the history of um, a country uh, like making machines and production and all kinds of just random things, right? So yeah, those I think the key to a classic is just make it about something normal, like doing your taxes, right? And then all of a
Something
sudden,
mundane. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, or filling out the paperwork to renew your driver's license or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you
Yeah,
cracked the code, Dane.
yeah. I was just thinking about that. I was like, yeah, I've tried to read Moby Dick. I've read some of the Lord of the Rings, and I've read Dracula. So yeah, they have these three things in common. I mean these three books have that in common, where they just start off as like just this random thing, a real, a will conflict or an estate conflict, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I didn't mean to distract us.
Yeah, well, like I said, never thought of it that way, but I think you cracked the code. What makes it successful?
Yeah,
So get cracking on your own literary classic, Dane. To start off with
yeah,
some
I
mundane
know.
activity, and then
I'm trying to,
the rest will take care of itself.
I'm trying to remember how War and Peace starts, but I can't remember. Uh,
So, yeah, I can't help you there. I
ah,
never read that one.
I think it's just a bunch of people. No, no, I can't remember. Anyway.
All right, so what should we talk about first, Dane? The big news topic regarding the DC movies, the TV shows that we've been watching. What do you think? Or
Let's
anything
get
else
the
that's coming to your
DC.
mind?
Let us get the DC stuff out of the way because I don't really have much to say about it. To be honest with you.
I kind of figured, but I'll just get your general
Yeah,
ranking of enthusiasm for it. But obviously, we
yeah,
had the big news a couple of weeks ago where James Gunn took to first they had like a press event, a secret press event. The next day, James Gunn put out and DC put out a video laying out the plans for the first phase or chapter, I should say, of the new DC universe titled Gods and Monsters, revealing not only movies but the TV shows that we're going to get, building up this new DC universe. But I guess first thing out of the way, get this out of the way first. He acknowledged in the video the upcoming DC EU movies coming out this year, The Flash and Blue Beetle, Aquaman, and so kind of saying that those are obviously still happening, and he kind of confirmed too, where it's like this isn't going to be a full blown reboot and reset of everything. There are going to be some elements that are still going to trickle their way into this new main DC universe, and he's saying Flashpoint or the Flash movie will indeed be a reset for this new DC universe, but not everything's going to be totally changed. So, which I kind of took, I was kind of hoping they just go full blown, blow it up, start fresh type of thing. But because that just seems to be the problem, where they just try to hold on to certain aspects while trying to move forward at the same time. But maybe this one's going to be I think it definitely will be a much bigger reset than we've gotten before in certain other movies that try to hold on to certain things and move away and onto other stuff. But at the same time, I think too, where it's like, if you have when it comes to actors anyway, you have good actors in the role, you might as well still use them. But it's just seems funny, and where in the case he's open to some remaining like Jason Momoa, but yet Henry Cavill, they felt for his Superman movie is not the right fit, and they're going to recast that. So it's still a lot of wait and see to see how everything goes. But I was a little bit surprised where at first this is, and he kind of confirmed on Twitter too, where it's not going to be a total full blown reset. But of course, the majority of things are definitely going to be changing. But I just liked to just how, well, I should get my other one little concern out of the way is that the one trepidation I can't help but still have is that, this isn't the first time we've had a list of upcoming movies and projects get revealed for DC, and we all know how those went. So obviously I'm feeling more optimistic about this, but there's still a part of me with like, kind of wait to see it to believe it if all these things, these projects announced are going to happen. And you cannot not help but feel that way because of Warner Brothers' past track record. But they're definitely going all in on this, and they got some good leaders now in charge with James Gunn. And that's what I really love about all this. Just having a face and someone who's talking to the fans and audience of what to expect is so refreshing now. I mean, James Gunn is really being like that Kevin Feige face of the DC movie universe. This, as all announcements and news comes from Kevin Feige for the MCU. It's great to have this stuff be announced by someone who's in charge at DC, and it's talking to the fans. And I just love not only James Gunn's passions that he's showing in this video, it's his love for these characters and comics, and to have someone in charge with that passion for these characters, but just how active he is on social media and just responding to either like BS rumors that he calls out, which is awesome, or if people just have questions about a certain project, he responds when he's canned. I just like how open he is. It's just so refreshing to have that voice for DC movies finally. And if nothing else, regardless of the type of movies we get, this is a huge step in changing things for the better regarding DC movie, is to have a face and someone in charge who is out there talking about all this stuff. So that's the great thing, I think, right now that we're already seeing a nice change of. But in regards to projects, that's the big thing that was announced during his video. So I'll read off the list because it's split into movies and TV shows. So the movies we're going to get, Superman Legacy, which James Gunn is writing, and there's still talk that he might be directing it, but we'll see. But that's, as he said, is really going to launch off this new DC universe, beginning with Superman Legacy, as he's kind of describing it as a story where Superman's in conflict with his heritage as a Kryptonian while living on Earth. And it's going to be set, not an origin story, he said, but it's still pretty early in the career of Clark as Superman. So I just like the idea that, as it should be, the new DC universe should get kicked off with the greatest and the first hero of the DC universe, Superman. So I do like the title too, Superman Legacy. And after that, we got The Authority, which was kind of a surprise. I know he's new of those comics, but I never actually read them. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works within this DC universe. And then we got Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, and Swamp Thing. And then the other big one, The Brave and the Bold, which is going to be the DC universe's Batman with Damian as Robin in this universe. So first off, they made it, and we kind of do this already too, nothing's changing with Matt Reeves, the Batman movies. They even announced the release date for the Batman Part 2, which is its official title. So those are still coming, but I'm also glad that it's not going to be something where, because Matt Reeves is doing his thing with Batman, we can't have a Batman in the shared DC universe. I'm glad they are doing two separate ones, so Batman can be a part of this growing, bigger DC universe. And I'm super excited that, we're having Damian in this movie as Robin, but James Gunn has also said, and I believe in some of the press releases for it, that the extended Bat family will be a part of this too. It will be kind of an established Batman where we've had Robin, Batgirl. So the fact that we're going to get finally the Bat family on screen in live action movies, I am super ecstatic about that. And we'll just have to wait and see who is actually going to be playing Batman in this universe. So we'll find out on that. But it was cool not only to know that, yes, Batman will be a part of this universe, but the fact that it's going to have the Bat family in it. I am super excited about that. And as Matt Reeves' Batman is going down the realistic, like crime stories for the Batman, hopefully this one goes that more fantastical, more comic booky type Batman stories where we can go crazy with villains like Man-Bat, Clayface, those type of things. And the fact that this is being inspired by the first appearance of Damian, Son of Batman story by Grant Morrison, maybe we will get those Ninja Man-Bats on screen. So we'll see. But I'm glad that the Bat family is not being ignored this time in this universe. And it's cool that we are getting a Supergirl movie to kick off, or not kick off, but to be part of this first chapter. And Woman of Tomorrow, I've never read.
Can I ask you something?
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So there's going to be two Batman, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's like Matt Reeves' Batman. They even said this in the video, that and like the sequel to Joker, those will be, I think they are going to have like an Elseworlds label on them just to kind of show that they're not part of this main new universe continuity. So they are going to make the distinction between both of them.
Well, I guess that's a good thing. I mean, I don't think Matt Reeves' Batman, as good as it is, can really fit into, like a Marvel-esque.
Yeah.
thing.
One thing I will say though, as excited I am that the DC Universe Batman is going to have Robin and the Bat family, I did think, and especially how Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson talked, how they were kind of potentially going to do a story with Robin as well. And I hope that's still the case, because I would love to see their take on that version of Batman establishing a younger Robin too in that. So I hope they don't move away from that if that was their plan. Maybe it wasn't, and they were just talking about ideas of something they might want to do. But if it is, or it was, where Matt Reeves really wanted a story to introduce Robin, but that's still the case. But we'll see. I'm just glad that both sides are kind of working it out where they're allowing each other to do their own thing.
You know what I was thinking? I was thinking the sequel to the Batman, which I think they announced it's the Batman 2 is the title of it.
The Batman
Part
Part
2.
Great. Yeah.
Part 2. Right?
Everyone's comparing it to like the
Which is
Godfather movies, like sequels. It's like the Godfather Part 2 and the Godfather Part 3. We'll just do the same for the Batman. I think that makes total sense.
Yeah. I mean, the Dark Knight was already taken. Right?
Yeah.
But I was thinking they should do Heart of Ice next
Oh man.
for Part 2.
Imagine adapting
Freeze,
that for a live action movie. Jeez.
Yeah, they should do that. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what direction the villains is going to go. That's for sure. As obviously it's the case with every Batman movie. But
yeah, is that Penguin show still coming out?
it's still on track. I believe they're filming right now. So.
Oh right, yeah. I saw something with Colin Farrell where he was saying Penguin has a love interest in that show. So
yeah, so it definitely wasn't a casualty of some other HBO Max stuff. So thankfully.
Yeah.
And speaking of TV shows, I mean that was the other stuff that got announced, and there's some stuff I'm pretty darn excited about here. So first off, Creature Commandos is going to be an animated series set in this universe, which I'm not too familiar with the Creature Commandos, but their designs look pretty cool in some of the artwork I've seen for it. And then Waller, which is going to be a series about Amanda Waller, still played by Viola Davis. And then Paradise Lost is going to be a show about the Amazons. The one thing I'm not sure on if Wonder Woman is going to be a part of that. I hope she is, because I really want this DC universe to, have the big three still be a main factor and focus in building this universe with Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. So hopefully the series obviously it's set on the Mascara and about the Amazons, and that Diana will be the main character of that. And then
Yeah.
Booster Gold, which should be a lot of fun. Booster Gold is such a fun character in the comics, and he's one that he could do so much fun stuff in a live action series. I think that this has the potential to be like a really unique type of comedy style type superhero project.
Yeah, you see, that was the one that really stuck out to me, like a Booster Gold
Yeah.
TV show. And but the more I thought about it, the more, I started to come around to the idea where it's like Booster Gold is a character that would fit really well into James Gunn's sort of sense of humor, right?
Mhm.
And the way he writes scripts or whatever. But yeah, also the Waller show. It's good to actually spend time with Amanda Waller, instead of, like, it seems like all of her appearances in all of these movies is literally like Tim is the superhero and I'm Amanda Waller, right? So it's like, oh, what do you want, Tim? I don't have time for this. You better do the job, otherwise I'm gonna blow the chip in your head and you're gonna die. Okay, bye. That's it.
Yeah, it's
Right?
either that or just her making sure her tracks are covered and being as ruthless as possible to make sure her tracks are covered and she gets the mission done. So yeah, I definitely think this will obviously be a show that explores more of her character and obviously backstory, what motivates her, and all that type of stuff.
And the Themyscira one is sort of like, okay, so, like, I guess we're gonna build this on TV first,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're gonna switch to the movies, which is a good thing. I mean, these things have to grow in people's minds naturally, rather than, well, here's a new Wonder Woman. It's not Gal Gadot anymore, but here's your new Wonder Woman, or what have you, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's why I'm really curious if Wonder Woman is going to be the main focus of that show or not. Which, again, I hope she is, because like I said, let's get the big three in the DC universe established in this first chapter, as they're calling it, and then because I think it's a tweet that James Gunn said, how talking about building a universe and introducing new characters that maybe we haven't seen before in live action, and how it's important to kind of have the big characters be the entryway for these new characters to be introduced to a new audience type of scenario. And it looks like is the case with this first chapter, as a lot of the big DC properties are being mixed with some of the more lesser known ones. So I think it is a good mix of the familiar and introducing some new stuff. But the big
one.
Yes.
Sorry, Tim. Before you get to that, I was looking at the list and I saw everybody's comments, and everybody's excited. Some people are mad. Tim is on the mad side, as
How
we
dare
know.
you?
But I felt slapped in the face, to be honest with you, Tim. And I think you know why.
I think
out of all of the TV shows, all of the animated shows, all of the movies that were announced, yeah, we're gonna get a new Superman or whatever. Who cares? We're gonna get a new Batman. Who cares? There's one singular superhero that they've completely ignored, and which they could build the entire DC EU after. And do you know who that is?
Can I take a guess? It's a character who's been ignored for far too long?
Far too long, Tim.
The one, the only Plastic Man.
Exactly.
Yes.
How James Gunn should be fired for not
Join in that
including-
hashtag, fire James Gunn.
Yeah. Because he didn't include Plastic Man in his DCEU soft relaunch, I would call it. How dare he? You know what? I'm not going to watch any of these movies besides Matt Reeves' Batman. All these other movies and TV shows and animated shows don't exist in my mind, Tim. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We can end the conversation right now and move on to the next thing because I'm over it.
Well, I feel your pain, Dane, because Plastic Man, we've talked about this so much on like even the early days of our show. How you were hoping he'd show up in the DCEU when Zack Snyder was first getting things going, and nothing there.
You know
and
what?
Now nothing still.
I've had it, Tim. Christopher Nolan had a perfect opportunity to introduce Plastic Man into his Dark Knight trilogy. He said no, which was a slap in the face. Zack Snyder had a chance. He said no. And James Gunn said no also, Tim. So you know what? I am done with these relaunches, with these new TV shows, with these new movies, with these new animated shows, with these new media, with these new video games, Tim. I'm done with it. I'm done being a DC fan, and this podcast is ending today.
After we just got back.
Yeah. After we just got back, after all this time, it's ending.
Justice for Plastic Man, cinematic debut. We gotta start that hashtag. Oh man, I'm sorry you were so disappointed because of that, Dane. But hey, this is just a reveal of chapter 1. Maybe he'll show up in chapter 2.
No, he has Tim. The entire universe has to be based around Plastic Man, just like how the entire first phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe was based around either Iron Man or Captain America, right? So what I'm saying is, this is a giant slap in the face to me.
But maybe they're saving it because Guardians of the Galaxy was phase 2. We all know back how big that was. Maybe they want to save that. Plastic Man is going to be the DC Universe's chapter 2's Guardians of the Galaxy. I'll make that prediction right now. I mean, the first chapter, like we said, is called Gods and Monsters. Chapter 2 is going to be called Rubber and Plastic, where we're going to get Plastic Man, Elongated Man, all the stretchy rubber characters are going to be the main focus of chapter 2.
Or Plastic and Puns.
Yeah. I like that one better, actually.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. Chapter 2 of the DCU, Plastic and Puns. We're making our prediction right now.
The one movie, or I think it's a movie, I can't remember, but the one thing I'm excited about is Swamp Thing, to be honest with you, because it's a totally different thing, and James Gunn seems to be a real big fan of Alan Moore's Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, which I love. So, yeah, I would be interested in what he has to do with Swamp Thing.
Did you ever see the TV show? That was first the DC Universe app?
The one that got canceled after like 2 episodes?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I heard it was good, but I never got into it, but I know it had its fans.
I heard they leaned heavily into like the romance.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm not sure. That's not on HBO Max, is it?
That's what I was just thinking right now, because obviously most of the other shows that launched on that DC Universe app moved over, but I can't remember Swamp Thing was one of them.
Let me look it up real quick.
It'd be weird why that one was left off. I mean, it's just one season and that's it. But
it
still be moved over. It is on there. Okay.
Yeah. Oh no, it's not. Never mind. Sorry. What is this? Hold on. Oh. You see, if you go ahead and type in Swamp Thing HBO Max into Google, the first thing should be HBO Max, and then watch Swamp Thing HBO.
You would think.
Yeah, and then you click on it, and it says, "Looks like this link isn't working."
Huh.
Oh, that's weird. I don't know what that is.
Not sure,
Anyway.
but
Yeah.
maybe we should actually open the app and find out if it's on there. But
I don't think it is, because I saw like a CBR post that said like they have no plans on adding the Swamp Thing show
Oh,
to HBO Max. So
so I guess it's just out in the abyss then, nowhere to be watched. That
yes,
kind of
so
sucks. Oh well,
have
at
you
least it's not the last we'll see of Swamp Thing. Now he'll be getting
yeah
a movie.
have you seen the Pennyworth show? I saw it got added to HBO
It
Max.
did. I haven't yet,
Yeah.
but it's funny. Like a few weeks ago, my dad mentioned it to me where he stumbled on it by accident.
Oh, you
Where
did?
Yeah, because he has my I gave him my HBO login account too, so he watches stuff some on
Yeah.
there, and then I think he was just scrolling and he accidentally hit it, and it was Pennyworth, but he didn't know he was watching a show related to
The
Batman
Batman
until
show. Yeah.
until he got introduced to Thomas Wayne. He was like, wait a second. He started putting the pieces together. And then he saw, that tagline they added to the show's name, the origin of Batman's butler, which is ridiculous, but I guess that's what it's there for people who aren't too familiar to really know what it is. So, but
Yeah.
I don't know if he's watched any more, but he said he stuck out and watched the first episode. He said it was pretty good. He enjoyed it.
Is he like a spy in that or something? He's like a
Kind of. Yeah.
SAS
Some
soldier guy.
yeah, some type of like
Yeah.
secret agent type
Oh, like a
organization.
James Bond. Yeah.
Yeah. But that just got canceled too.
What, Pennyworth?
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that's watched that show.
I know, me neither, but I mean it lasted 3 seasons, so
Yeah, so it must have been popular. On
but
is it on Cinemax or
it was on no, it was on some other network.
Stars?
No,
Yeah.
I forget.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was some network I didn't have to watch it originally.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, me neither. Let's see.
it just got moved to HBO Max for its third and final season now. But
What's the point of watching that show? Epics.
Epics,
Epics,
that's
yeah.
okay, yeah. Yeah, the fact that like all the TV shows pretty much that are currently going on right now on HBO Max are ending with these seasons. Like Doom Patrol's ending, Titans is ending. So pretty much clearing the way for all these new DC TV shows to start this connected universe now. So, but they've had good runs. 4 seasons is nothing to sneeze at. Which I haven't watched the 4th season of Titans yet. I'll get to it eventually, probably when it kicks up again. But that 3rd season didn't leave me anxious to start the 4th. But Doom Patrol I want to get back to because those first 2 seasons were really good.
Yeah, I'm reading the description of or the Wikipedia entry for Pennyworth,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, he's a SAS officer, and this doesn't make sense to me. So I'm gonna read the whole thing, Tim.
Okay.
So it says the series was developed for television and is executive produced by blah blah blah, and stars Jack Ben and as Alfred Pennyworth, a younger version of the iteration of the character previously portrayed by Sean Pertwee in Gotham, with the series serving as a prequel to both Gotham and V for Vendetta
What?
by Alan Moore.
Yeah, that's
What?
gotta be.
Well, I mean, they're both set in England, right?
Yeah, whoever wrote that Wikipedia entry, maybe he's not too familiar what prequel actually means. No, just because
Well,
it
I
takes.
mean, like the showrunner said, Danny Cannon said that confirmed that Pennyworth would serve as a loose prequel to V for Vendetta.
Okay, why?
Vendetta
When you
as
say
well as
loose, why it doesn't? That's kind of dumb to say that. If it's loose, then it's not really connected. But okay.
What is this? Okay, I mean, I guess that's a good thing because it got a 73. The first season got a 73 on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, the second season got a 60. Never mind.
I don't know. Maybe better watch it now just to see how it connects to V for Vendetta.
How would you connect it? That's what I mean, like the V for Vendetta is a completely different thing. I don't know if you've ever read it, but it's a completely
No, I haven't.
different genre
Yeah.
of of thing compared to Alfred Pennyworth and the Batman universe, and yeah, I don't know how you would connect the two.
Wait,
I mean,
yeah,
it's a V for Vendetta is dystopian fiction. It's about a fascist state. How would you tie that into Pennyworth, Alfred Pennyworth?
you got to watch to find
Yeah.
out now, I guess.
I'll just read the Wikipedia article.
Yeah, you'll figure out the connection that way. It's all the same.
I like this. So Thomas Wayne and Martha Kane, right? And Bruce's older, future, long lost sister Samantha.
So they
Is
introduced an extended family into it. Okay.
yeah, they're part of a group that has affiliations with the CIA. That's how they work them in, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, so like they meet. That's how they meet, I guess.
Apparently so. I guess. I mean, that's all fine and dandy to have the introduction to Alfred and Thomas Wayne to meet that way. I just wonder if the show kind of went down the Gotham route where it started shoehorn all these Batman villains who shouldn't be there yet, or Batman characters who shouldn't be there yet. If it was able to stay
Yeah.
away from that, I'll give it props just to kind of being holding back and not feeling the need to do that when other shows like Gotham felt they had to and just introduce everything so soon. But it was able to restrain itself. I think that's a good thing.
Okay, I kind of see why it's based loosely on V for Vendetta. So they sort of took the alternate history of V for Vendetta and added it to Pennyworth.
Okay.
So like there's
So it's like,
a fascist state, and Alfred has to like fight this Raven Society thing that's tied to the state, and
okay.
I guess Thomas and Martha and his Bruce's sister Samantha is affiliated with the CIA to help Alfred. I think that's it.
And how old is his sister in this? Does it say?
Doesn't say. Let me see. Samantha Wayne, young daughter of Thomas and Martha. Well, she needs a nanny, so I'm guessing young.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I think this is a little too much for me, but I've been wrong before, Tim. So I'll let you take the dive first on that one.
That might be a while, if I'm being honest. But glad it found some success though. 3 seasons, like I said, that's a pretty good
Yeah,
one.
I guess. I mean, if you like the combination of V for Vendetta and Batman,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, but unfortunately Pennyworth is not part of the DC universe going forward. But
Oh man, it sounded like such a fun show, Tim.
to take its place is the one I'm most excited for, obviously. But will it happen? That's the question. Again, just that little trepidation I have because it's been such a long road. Lanterns, the Green Lantern TV show. I mean, been waiting for a Green Lantern Corps movie, other stuff announced at the movie. Then we got the TV show announcement about how it's going to take place over several eras, focus on different lanterns. Then it got refocused into a show about Jon Stewart. But now this is the Lanterns TV show we're going to get. A TV show that's going to focus on both Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, which I think is awesome, and is kind of being compared to like a True Detective type TV series, which I'm like, cool. The first and third season of True Detective were awesome, and if we can kind of get like the space cop showed up with Hal and Jon Stewart, sign me up. I mean, that sounds awesome. And James
Again,
Gunn
again, it's a weird combination. So you're taking Green Lantern, and you're taking the Yellow King, and you're combining.
but it's like,
Oh,
but again, it does make sense.
yeah.
I mean, you got two cops working together, different personalities, and it's that they're going to investigate a mystery that's going to kind of have bigger effects along the greater DC universe. So it's probably like whatever maybe the main threat or main focus is going to be on this first chapter is going to start or be revealed here in Lanterns. But
Okay.
here's the thing: they say it is going to be more of a grounded Earth-based Green Lantern story. So yeah, it's going to
Yeah,
be
the
like
whole point of the Green Lanterns is that it's a it takes place in space. They're essentially space cops, so that I
Yes.
guess the true detective thing kind of works out.
exactly. And obviously there can be.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I'll let you finish it.
no, B, like they have it's not just Jon Stewart or it's not just Kyle Rayner or Hal Jordan. It's all these other lanterns from all these different other worlds. That's the whole point of Green Lantern, right?
Mm-hmm. No, yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
here's what I'm hoping for. This first story to introduce Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan. I mean,
Right.
they've had instances and cases where they have to be on Earth to take care of a threat or solve a crime or a mystery, something like that. So this is what this is going to be. I think it's going to start small on Earth, like kind of a police detective story. But once they uncover the mystery of whatever they're investigating, it's going to lead to probably more of that space and other galaxy type scenarios, or where they have to inform the greater Green Lantern Corps. So here's the thing. I'm hoping, because I've got to say, I was, as excited as I am to finally get a Green Lantern show, I was a little disappointed when I heard, oh, Earth base, more domesticated version, where it's going to be on Earth. Okay. I was hoping for that sci-fi element, because obviously that's a big part of what makes Green Lantern so great. But if this is just a kicking off point where let's just introduce these characters here with this Earth-based story, but then they move on, because they have said, these characters are going to show up in other DC stories and movies and stuff. If this is just kind of the launching point for it, and then we do move on into the greater scale sci-fi aspect of the Green Lantern Corps, then yeah, I'm hoping that's the direction this goes, and I will be really excited about that. So, but if it's something where this whole series is just going to be based on Earth for like seasons 2, 3, and 4, that would be a little disappointing, because then you're kind of not taking advantage of what makes the Green Lantern Corps so great and so special and so massive. You're kind of almost doing the same thing what the movie did, being afraid to embrace its grand space opera feel to it. So as long as we eventually get there, I'm all for that. And this is where you want to start on Earth, that's cool. So hopefully it does lead to that. But I just want to see more Green Lantern in live action again. I mean, I've said that before. I've been saying it almost for the entire lifespan of this podcast as we enter year 11, and we still haven't gotten anything since the 2011 movie.
Yeah.
So if this is just the first step into that, yeah, I'm glad they're using both Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart. They're both, I mean, they're not everybody's favorite Green Lanterns, but I think they're the most recognizable, iconic Green Lanterns. And the fact that you're introducing both of them to be part of this big DC universe, yeah, I'm all for that, because I just want the Green Lanterns to be a big part of this universe. And then if it's just going to start off on a TV show based on Earth first, that's fine. They're a part of this universe, and that's what I'm happy about. And to see them in action as Green Lanterns, I cannot wait for. As long as they don't skip out on the constructs. I mean, let's not just have them shoot laser beams out of those rings. I want them to go crazy with constructs. So that's the whole fun of Green Lantern. So that's what I'm hoping for too. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm more excited than not, but because the potential is all there. I mean, if they're going to start off small and go big, that's totally fine with me. I'm just glad that we are getting some Green Lantern stories as part of this first chapter of the DC universe.
Yeah, I was gonna make the point where it's, I was gonna say, season 1 should just start off on a story. It shouldn't be introducing the characters to you. Like, okay, here's Jon Stewart, here's your main character. We're off on the story, instead of like, slowly introducing the character to people. But yeah, for you Green Lantern fans, yeah, a show would be nice.
Something.
a show. But I don't think this show is happening.
Don't say that, Dane, please.
Yeah, I don't think it's happening. So, I mean, how many Green Lantern projects have we heard about? So,
too many. I know. I know.
wasn't there supposed to be a TV show and a movie?
I
With
think
the
at
Zack
one
Snyder
point. I think at one point
Yeah.
there was. Yeah.
Yeah. And that got whittled down to just the movie, and then that got whittled down to just nothing. So,
We're still supposed to get that movie in 2020 or the 2021. I don't know. That was the last on that initial slate of releases, but here we are.
yeah. But yeah, I was gonna make a whole point, but yeah, you're right, Tim. I feel for you and your brother.
Yeah.
I just say don't hold your breath because I don't want you to turn blue
Or green in this case.
or green. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was just glad to hear James was going to say the word lanterns in that video. I was like, yes, they're not being ignored this time. So yeah, that's the slate for chapter 1 of this new DC universe. Again, it's just great to have some information. They're not keeping it hush hush and have some passion behind these ideas and projects, and where it's coming out of a place of love for these characters and the comic book medium. And that's another cool thing, is how in that video the focus was a lot on the comic stories that these projects are being inspired from. They didn't show like the project logo or an actors or anything like that. They showed the comic book art from the stories that is inspiring these projects they want to do. And I thought that was really cool, just really showing the inspiration that where these comic book movies come from, comic books. So the fact that a big focus was on that, I thought was really cool. So there's definitely a lot to be excited for. I'm hopeful that this is finally it, where we get a steady DC universe moving forward, with James Gunn and Peter Safran in charge, and that they're able to see their plan to fruition, regardless of how it goes in the reception. Just hopefully, at least for this first chapter, they're able to see their vision through, and hopefully it is successful and all these projects do work, and we get to see their entire DC universe 10-year plan fulfilled. But we're on the right track, so I'm looking forward to seeing what comes next. Shouldn't be too long. I mean, the only one was I believe a confirmed release date is Superman Legacy, which is July 2025, so just a couple of years away as that project, and I'm sure other ones will get going as well. So we're entering a new era. As he said, we got some movies coming out this year to kind of end the old DCEU Snyderverse era and bring along and usher in the new one, which Flashpoint is going to do. Or I keep calling it Flashpoint, but I think it is just called The Flash, even though it's telling the Flashpoint story, which we will be getting a trailer tomorrow for it as we're recording this episode for Super Bowl Sunday. And they did put out a poster yesterday, which is really cool. It's just a shot of Flash in the Batcave, and you got the Batman silhouette logo above him. It's a really cool looking design poster. One of the coolest ones I've seen for a comic book movie. So that's, again, another movie we didn't think we're going to get. We still haven't gotten it yet, but we're getting closer as we've ever been now that we're actually getting a trailer and a poster. So we'll see if it finally happens in June. But exciting times for sure as this new era is about to begin.
Yeah, for me, I'll keep it short. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I know that a lot of these things, got announced and stuff, but just expect that to be whittled down to the Batman 2, the Joker, and random 3 movies and 2 animated shows. That's what I'd say. Yeah.
Preparing for the worst, hoping for the best is kind of, I guess.
Yeah.
How you're viewing it right now.
Yeah, so it's February 11th, 2023 right now as we record this. And I hope I'm wrong. We'll see.
And yeah, I can't really blame anyone for having more of a pessimistic attitude toward it because of everything we've been through the last decade for DC movies. So
yeah.
But again, the signs of positivity are there for a good future. So let's just hope it all pans out.
Yeah.
But regardless of the new DC front we're looking forward to coming up the next few years, 2023 has been kicked off with some pretty great TV shows, I would say, Dave. One animated and one live action as we kicked off.
One's not so good. One's not so good, Tim. The live action one isn't too good.
I was afraid you were going to say that.
But no, the Bad Batch. I'm not totally caught up yet. But,
okay. I got to be careful then.
Yeah. I've seen the pod racing story. What episode am I on? I'm trying to remember, Tim.
Because the one after the pod racing one, even though it's called Riot Racing, is the one where they're going like that treasure hunt. It was kind of like that Indiana Jones style type story.
Yeah, not that one.
Okay. Then after that was
one.
the Wookiee one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm on that one. I just finished that one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
In a tough spot right now with the filler episodes. But I really, 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 Tim, I'm sure you loved it more. And I'm sure you know what I'm saying.
Oh, yes.
I really, really love that Commander Cody episode.
Oh, that's an all-timer, yes.
Oh, man, it was near perfect. At the beginning of the episode, I was wondering why are we doing this? Why are we going, 3 episodes in? Why are we going to tell Commander Cody's story? But, they totally changed my mind on that. And I'm so glad that he got away from the Empire and he's out there somewhere doing whatever, because he's the one that I was always concerned about. It's like you see Rex and Rex, got away, but you see Commander Cody and there hasn't really been anything with him, right?
Nope.
Yeah, so he was the one that I was really worried about, but so glad to see he got away. And yeah, what a great episode.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big question. Like, what happened to Commander Cody after Order 66? Did he fully embrace the Empire's ways and become a loyal soldier? But I'm glad to see it wasn't. I mean, he was for a little bit and kind of believed what the Empire was trying to do, thinking more so that there was still the Republic, but obviously he was shown wrong or otherwise at the end of this episode, and how Crosshair just can't see it that way. That's the other captivating thing about the series, Crosshair's story, just that loyalty showing to the Empire is being treated like nothing by them. It's
slave.
Like, but he's still being.
I mean, he's being treated like a slave, which he really is, because he's a clone, and he just I don't understand what the disconnect is, between the his idea of who he is and the reality of the Empire, where he doesn't really have a spot there. Where is his spot, as well as all of the other clones that have stayed, right? Where in their mind do they think their places in all of this, besides just killing machines that are just sent out to die, right? So I don't know. That's interesting. That's an interesting story.
Yes. The episodes you haven't seen yet, they released 2 episodes this week, and they are on par almost with that Commander Cody episode. Maybe not quite as good, but maybe like a tick under, but it's some of the best episodes of the series. They're great. And not because it's not a whole lot of action. There's a little bit, but the story that unfolds over the course of it, having to deal with the clones and their place in the galaxy now, was just fascinating to see unfold. There were 2 great episodes, so definitely check those ones out as soon as you can.
Disney would never do this, but why don't they just make that the story in the Clone Wars? I mean, sorry, not the Clone Wars, the Bad Batch.
Yeah.
Why don't they just do that and minimize the amount of episodes? Just make 8 episodes.
Mm-hmm. I think they want to have that balance. They still want to have that fun adventure show for the more younger audience too, but at the same time, keep those of us with the Clone Wars still invested with these other more serious stories that are happening at this time period in the galaxy of the clones too. So I think this season has been a nice balance of both. I do think the first season was a little more consistent in telling a more cohesive story throughout the first season. But at the same time, I don't blame the second one for being more of an episode of the week type style, because sometimes it's refreshing to have that for a TV series where you're just enjoying a fun adventure every week, and then every so often a big like galaxy changing story comes in the middle or at the beginning. So I don't mind it, because I don't think every show has to be that way. I said this before. Was Batman the Animated Series ever serialized storytelling? No. Was there like a cohesive, thorough line story throughout the course of a season? No. It was just an episode of the week, and we all know that's the greatest animated show of all time. So you can't tell stories like that or have a series like that where it's just one and done. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. But when you get the episodes like the Crosshair and Cody one and the last two we got, there definitely are on another level, because like I said, they're kind of galaxies changing events that take place in this last one. So the ending for this last episode that we got, man, it was pretty awesome. I won't say anymore, but it was pretty darn cool and sad at the same time. That's all I'll say.
Oh no. Can you, again, I don't think Disney would ever do this, but does it have to do with Echo?
It does, and
Yeah,
something
that's
else.
what I thought.
Echo and something else.
Okay. Yeah, because I kind of feel like out of all of the Bad Batch, right, Echo is the one that kind of gets forgotten about.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
I mean, like Hunter, he's the leader. Wrecker, he's just a big guy. Tech has his lines because they need technical help on
The
these
smart
missions.
ones. Yeah.
Crosshair is doing his thing, and then that just leaves Echo, and he doesn't really have a place there. So that's the one that really sticks out to me.
Mhm.
But
Yeah. Well, you'll see.
yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna love these next two for sure.
Okay.
So yeah, Bad Batch has been great to watch at the beginning of this year, but I guess for me this is kind of the surprise series, but maybe not for you, Dane. But The Last of Us TV series, the big TV show of 2023 to kick it off. We're 5 episodes in now, as we had one air Friday as we're recording this episode, which is nice. I wish more series would go back to that Friday release. It's nice to start the weekend off with watching a great TV show. Not gonna lie. But yeah, so obviously I'm someone who hasn't played the games. Dane, you are someone who has played the games watching this series, so we're kind of getting the different perspective on that, which is great. So I'll let you start with this one. Your overall thoughts on the series.
I'm actually really interested to hear what you say, Tim, because I can't believe you like this show. Like they keep texting me something, and I was like, I can't believe Tim is watching a post-apocalyptic zombie show. It totally blew my mind. I was like, wow, okay. So The Last of Us really has something going for it if it's pulling you in. Yeah.
Yeah, so I know I've said it before. I'm not a big fan of zombie stories or post-apocalyptic stuff, because I think there's too many of them, and how much different can they be? But obviously, I've heard great things about the game, mainly about its story and its characters. And I still eventually want to play it. And after watching the series, I'll probably be playing it sooner rather than later. But I was like, okay, I've heard great things about the game and its story. They're doing a TV show. It's on HBO Max, so it's going to have good production value. It's going to be good quality. And I kind of heard, once I heard they were going to be adapting the first game and they're going to be following it pretty closely for the most part, I went, okay, this will be the way I experience this story that I've heard great things about. I'll do it from the TV front. And there was that part of me was like, okay, let's see how different it's going to be from other post-apocalyptic zombie stuff. And there are still similar traits that all those stories have, I guess. But I mean, it just comes down to the characters, and if you're invested in it, in your main characters. And I was in the first episode, and then it's just getting better, I think, over the course of these next 5s. I mean, the relationship that's being built between Joel and Ellie I'm really getting invested in. Of course, the actors are great in their roles, playing them, and just the chemistry that both of them have has been great to see over the course of that episode. And Yeah, just the kind of the world building it did in that first episode, I thought was really done, showing how things were and how just out of the blue it came. The whole infected, I forget the term they call it, like infected day or something like that, but it just where everything just went downhill so quickly and so fast. And here's the one thing I will say, and I guess this is something I'll regret, Dane, because I think it was
Yeah.
when you were reviewing the second game and you were
Mm.
telling me about it and had to tell me events in the first one. I was like, yeah, just tell me, but I don't know when I'm going to play it. Maybe I'll forget
Right.
it by then. But there are some big story details that I do know that happened, like the beginning with Joel's daughter and the tragic outcome of that. I knew she died in the beginning, but I didn't know how it happened. So it was a little bit of surprise of seeing exactly how she did die and just how tragic it was, because it wasn't by any of the infected. It was was just by a soldier who you would think would be there to help, but gave the order to shoot him, which was awful to see. But
Yeah.
again, there's also big story moments I know coming up in the season that's going to happen that I'm aware of. So,
Like what, Tim? Like what?
well,
If you don't.
okay, I guess I'll throw out the spoiler warning here for anyone who
Yeah.
doesn't want to know. But okay, I remember you telling me it's where, I guess, when Joel gets Ellie to the location where she's supposed to go, and
Yeah.
I guess in order to get the extract her blood and get the cure, she has to die, and
Oh,
Joel
yeah.
ends up killing the doctors, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I imagine that's going to happen towards the end of this first season. So
Is that it, or do you have more?
I believe that's it. Of course, once we get to number
Okay.
2, what happens there in that
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
But as far as the
Yeah.
first game, that's I think the only big thing that I remember you telling me about.
Okay. So there's a lot more of that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that happens. Um, expect a. I haven't seen the the thing that the trailer that they put at the end. I haven't seen it.
Okay,
But
for next week's then you're talking about, right?
yeah, and this
Okay.
isn't a spoiler, but is there a shift in seasons?
Yes, there is.
Okay. Okay.
So it's a lot
that's
colder
exactly
in next
where-
week's episode.
Yeah, yeah. That's it. Okay, so I know where we are then. Yeah, there's gonna be a big moment coming up. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I'll say.
Okay, cool. But no, yeah, I've just been really digging the journey that these characters are taking, and there's a lot of it is the performances too, and how it's played out. And this last episode 5, was fantastic. It was fantastic
Yeah.
in both. It was emotionally draining by the time you get to the end, which really sucked. But
Okay, can I tell you, Tim?
yeah,
When that happened in the game, and we both know what you're talking about, which is Sam getting infected, and then Henry killing Sam, and then killing himself. That's one of the. I mean, that moment has stuck out with me because it comes out of nowhere, and that's one of the that's one of the only moments I've ever yelled at my TV. And it was essentially what Joel said. It was like, Henry, no.
yeah.
Like, oh my god. Yeah, that's one thing that's really stuck with me. And Sarah dying in the beginning of, like, that first episode is essentially the cold open to the game. And yeah, the Henry and Sam thing in the apartment was it
Like,
just emotionally devastated me
I knew something.
because
Yeah,
what
I knew
they
something
do-
bad was gonna happen, but
Yeah.
it was like the way it went down. I was like, oh no.
yeah, because what they did in the game is so Henry kills Sam, and then it's essentially that whole scene is beat for beat what happened in the game. Even like the noise that Henry is making when he realizes what he's done, and he's
Okay.
shaking,
Uh,
then he kills himself, and then instead of showing Henry killing himself, the camera focuses on Joel and just his reaction. Like if there's any a claim to any sort of animator in any video game, it should be on that one scene because it focuses on Joel and just his facial expressions. And then after that, it just cuts straight to winter, straight to this next episode. Like there's
Oh,
there's nothing.
oh
Yeah,
wow.
that whole scene where they're burying, Henry and Sam, and you know, Ellie says something and they both walk off. That doesn't happen. They just end up in. It just cuts to winter. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So that was one of the scenes that I was like, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see this again. It was so traumatic the first time. Ugh. But they did an amazing job with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just the entire episode of just because like I said, you knew something bad was going to happen to those two characters because especially as we're talking
Yeah.
about kind of them like joining up and going to Wyoming together.
Yeah.
It was like, but uh, don't see them any other parts of the trailers or any other footage. Like, I don't remember seeing those Henry and Sam as part of the big focus of the game, so I kind of doubt they're not going to make it out of this. So I thought they're going to die or something was going to happen to them in the big action set piece where the infected come or that resistance comes, like they would die in that battle, which was an awesome battle sequence, action sequence that played out there. But then when you found out that Sam was infected, it's like, oh no, this is how it's going to go. But still didn't know how it's going to go down. The fact that Henry had to be the one to shoot him after spending all this time and doing the horrible thing to save him, and he ends up killing him anyways. And it's just so tragic and heartbreaking to see play out. Again, it all comes back to the performances that we get from the actors throughout the course of the episodes and establishing that relationship they had in just this one episode. It was just so well done. And the other thing I learned too is how for the TV show they made Sam be deaf in this, which just adds more to this tragic story. So when I saw like the behind the scene feature them talking about, I was like, oh man, that was a change that they did, but one that worked for the better, and just pulling on your heartstrings more that they had that terrible outcome at the end of it.
Yeah, it's again, it's just one of those things. It's like I don't want to see it again. Like there's a reason why I haven't played The Last of Us and The Last of Us Part Two again. Is things like this, and Sarah, and yeah, just these moments, like with Tess. It was a little different in the game with Tess. There wasn't that weird zombie kiss.
Okay.
But yeah, just seeing these things again, it's like, oh, I don't want to watch this, and but I do, and the thing is like it's so amazing how well they got the game. Like I was talking about the Henry and Sam thing, where it's beat for beat. The only difference I think if I'm remembering correctly, is that Joel and Henry are sort of just hanging around and they're talking about motorcycles.
Okay.
I think that's the only difference. The only difference, and everything else is beat for beat from the game. But yeah, sorry I interrupted you.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I want to hear your take as well, because again, going from someone who's played the game perspective, it's like,
Yeah.
How have you been with any of? Because I know there've been some changes, but for the most part, they've been pretty faithful to the overall game story. How have you been with like some of the changes they made to it? At least from the few that I've seen online and reactions, a lot of people seem to be happy about the changes, that they've been for the better so far.
Yeah. For me, I absolutely love it. It's the best part of this show. We don't know where in the games, we don't know where the cordyceps infection comes from, or what happens, or anything at all. So it's great to get that background on it, where it started in Indonesia, and then something like with flour, it got into flour, something like everyday use, some basic ingredient sort of thing that got shipped across the entire world and infected people. Like there's none of that. I really, really liked the first, I want to say 2 episodes, right? With the cold opens.
Yeah.
They did an excellent job with that, where like the first one was like this talk show, and they're talking about like,
like from the 60s or something.
Virus, yeah, like a Dick Cavett-esque show, and like they're talking about like, oh yeah, viruses, are really, really bad, this and that and the other thing. And then the I I think they're called mycologists. People that scientists that study fungus,
Uh-huh.
and the guy's like, no, your real threat is fungus because there's no cure for it. There's no vaccine. There's nothing you can do about it. It will wipe out, everybody. So like I totally love that. And with the doctor in Indonesia, and she's taken by these government soldiers and stuff, and they're taken to a lab, and she sees the first victim or whatever, and she does her autopsy. And when she cuts open the leg, and you see the infection underneath the skin,
Uh,
I really like that. And pulling that thing out of that victim's mouth and
yeah.
stuff. Yeah, I love that. And just like these little things. And the big thing, the big difference so far that we've had, and I'm sure you've read this, Tim, is Bill and Frank. That Bill and
Yeah.
Frank episode. That's got to be one of the best episodes of television I've seen since Watchmen. I think the episode is This Extraordinary Being.
Yeah.
Remember the
Yeah.
one
That's what I'm
that
talking
shows?
about.
Yeah, I think the Bill and Frank episode is one of the best um, episodes of television I've seen in a while. So yeah, because like Bill is just like a paranoid guy that you run into. He helps you out. Frank, uh, Frank was with Bill, and then Frank leaves, and then you find him after he's killed himself because he tried to leave because of, I don't know if you remember in the episode, Tim, where they cut, and then Bill and Frank are arguing about like painting houses or like something.
Yeah. He like
Yeah,
runs out of the house like yeah.
yeah, because Bill can't get past his paranoid, delusions that he can't bring down that guard and just be in love with Frank. So Frank leaves, and then he gets cornered by infected or clickers, and he gets bitten, and he decides to kill himself. And then that's all you see of it.
Oh dang.
Yeah,
Because this is like
there's
I thought I
no.
read like you don't even see him in the game. He's just like referenced or am I wrong?
You see his body. You see his
Okay.
body. Yeah. And then you pick up a note from him, and it just says like, "I'm leaving you because you can't get past this stuff, and we can't be in a relationship. I can't be in a relationship with somebody that's like this, so I'm gonna leave." So your whole goal of that part of the game is to get the truck battery, which again sort of brings me into like how well they've switched up certain story aspects. Like we start off with Joel, like he's trying to get the car battery to get to Tommy in the Boston zone, right? So in the game, that's so Tess and Joel are part of like a arms deal, like they're dealing guns and stuff, and their shipment got stolen. That's how they meet Marlene, and then
Oh, okay.
Ellie. Yeah. So just how well they sort of like switch things up, and then like in the game, you need the truck battery from Frank to get to Tommy. So like just little things like that, like how they switch things up. Like Henry and Sam is pretty much the story of Frank, where they were with the group, but then they're the only survivors, and that's how you meet them in the game. And again, this whole last episode in Missouri takes place in Pennsylvania instead. And
So, yeah, I remember them mentioning
there's
that in what behind the scene videos. They changed locations, I believe.
yeah, there's no Kathleen or anything.
Yeah.
That big monster that you see come
Uh-huh.
out of the ground is a boss that you fight later on in the game.
Okay.
After they make it to Tommy, and yeah, something happens, and then something else happens, and that's actually a big boss in the game.
Gotcha.
So yeah, just how well they sort of switch things around. They've really expanded, like just these minor roles like Bill and Frank or Henry and Sam. Like you know nothing about what Henry did, where Henry and Sam are from. Sam in the game isn't deaf; he's autistic, I think. And yeah, just how they give these little characters such a big, wealthy backstory is amazing because it just makes the game that much better. Like just to know that, I mean, I know it's two separate continuities or whatever, but I'm telling you, like the television show is starting to become my preferred continuity. Right?
Wow. Okay.
Because just the storytelling is so much better. It takes time to just sit and like we can have an entire episode of like a love story that spans 20 years, instead of like, okay, so Frank's dead and Bill is sad, but he's not gonna show it to Joel, right? And like we're gone after that. That's it. That's all we see of Bill, because that's essentially all we see of Bill in both games, right? So just how they just sit with the characters and they give these characters such a complicated background. Like with Tess, you don't know anything about where she comes from, where she's been, how Joel and her got together. We just know that it's sort of like a business relationship that has some romantic feelings to it, or at least they care about each other. But yeah, like how they expanded it on the show, where Tess had a family, and her son got infected, and then her husband got infected, and she killed her husband, and she couldn't bring herself to kill her son, right? So just little things like that is so amazing. And I do have to say, I was dead wrong about this show. I was really dead wrong.
You didn't have much expectations going into it, because we never really talked about it going into it.
Yeah, I mean, especially it's the curse of the video game movie, right?
Yeah,
we're all awful.
I would just think the fact that it's being produced on HBO and knowing their track record for great shows and who's involved would like give you a little more optimism than the normal TV video game adaptation.
It was that. It was the fact that Neil Druckmann was going to be involved.
Yeah.
And then Craig Mazin, because I really loved his television show Chernobyl, and then I was thinking like how well he told the story of Chernobyl in 5 episodes. This big, large international problem. There's a lot of science involved, and how simple he made it, and how well of a narrative he put together. And then I was thinking about like, okay, so he's doing The Last of Us, and then they're gonna do Last of Us Part 2. I mean, it wasn't announced, but so like, yeah, I guess the show is gonna be good because Craig Mazin really takes like this large, complicated story and makes it simple enough for people to understand it, and makes you care about the characters. And I was wrong about this, Tim. I thought this was going to be awful. And like with a game like The Last of Us, where you have such a personal connection with with the characters, all of the characters, it's so great to see how well they casted it. With Pedro Pascal. To be honest, I didn't see him as Joel. Like really, I was like, oh, but I don't know if he can do it. But wow, like he really nails it. The one person who really, really nails it is Liana Mormont herself.
Yeah.
Bella
The little
Ramsey.
bear.
Yeah, I can't believe how well she nails Ellie. If you play The Last of Us the game and you watch what she's doing, it's like beat for beat what Ellie is in the game, and she adds stuff onto it as well. I can't believe how well she how good of a job she's done so far. I really, really, really love her performance as Ellie, and to me, she's the best character in the TV show so far. Yeah.
Well, glad to hear that it's, well, I was gonna say living up to expectations, but you didn't have the highest going into it. But the fact that it is
Yeah.
working out to where how you would hope a video game adaptation would be, because I said this after the first episode, like all the positive reaction I'm seeing towards it from fans of the game is what I was hoping for the Halo TV series, but that was the exact opposite, which is
Exactly.
a bummer.
Again, dad video game movie curse. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You know, like you just can't get it out of your head because there's been so many bad ones, not to mention that Uncharted one. Oh my god.
Oh, yeah. I
That
still
one
haven't
was
seen that.
awful.
I know it's on Netflix. I eventually want to check it out. But did you see
Yeah,
it?
I caught it on Netflix.
Yeah.
And, uh,
I mean, I love Tom Holland as Spider-Man, but
yeah,
he was miscast as Nathan Drake. There's no way around that.
yeah. So his Peter Parker doesn't really fit into Nathan Drake. It
No.
really doesn't. And Mark Wahlberg as Sully.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. But it's so amazing to see The Last of Us work so well and be so like, you know, so loved, where people that have never even heard of the game love it. You know, people that
Yeah.
never have heard of the game but haven't played the game love it as well. And again, for me, somebody who loves the games, it's so great to get like these background stories. That's really one of the best points of the TV show is getting like these characters fleshed out, especially Sarah, right? Because all we know is Sarah is Joel's daughter, and then, like I said, the entire first episode with Sarah, the Sarah part before they jump 20 years, is essentially the cold open to the game.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no like she's going to get Joel's watch fixed. She's gonna, sort of take care of her next door neighbor. There's none of that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just that first scene where we see Joel and Sarah together sitting on the couch watching the movie, and she gives him the watch. That's pretty much it. So yeah,
Gotcha.
just getting these characters fleshed out is so amazing to see, and the introduction of the new characters, which is so far only. I gotta think about this. Yeah, so far it's only the 3 people on the television, the Indonesian doctor and Kathleen. So yeah, just seeing these new characters, and yeah, it's I can't say enough about it, Tim, to be honest.
That's good. That's what you want to hope for something that's being adapted. Is like you want to see whatever it is, book, video game, comic book, adapted it like into live action or a movie or TV show. Them do the big moments right and stick to the story, but expand on it where it could be and needs to without drastically changing the things you already love about it. And from what you're saying and from I'm seeing from other people play it, that's exactly what The Last of Us is doing. Having those big moments you expect to see in the game adapted well, but then throwing in and adding some new wrinkles to the story and characters that just make it even better. And that's great that it's doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna be the opposite for me because I'm getting the itch to want to play the game now. So if anything, I wonder if the show's gonna ruin it a little bit for me, where it's like certain things that happen, I'm going, oh man, the show did that a lot better.
If you have the PlayStation Plus, I believe it's in the free game catalog, the PS4 version.
Well, here's the thing though. They just released The Last of Us Part 1, which is like the PS5 remaster, like build of it. Like that's the one I want to play now because obviously I want to play it the best way it could look with the new graphics and everything. But I think that's still like $70 or whatnot. So I'm gonna wait for a little bit to go down because that's the one I want to play.
The PS5 one.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be honest, The Last of Us and The Last of Us Part 2, or Part 1 and Part 2, is just games that I don't really want to revisit. I mean, I love them. I love
Yeah.
them. I love the story and everything. I just can't go back to it. Yeah. For some reason. It's not because the game is bad. It's not because, I don't want to, go through the game again. It's too traumatic,
Yeah.
to be honest. And not only the story, but like, when Joe was in the watchtower in this last episode, and
Yeah, with the sniper.
he's trying to protect, he's trying to protect Ellie and Henry and Sam. That was single-handedly one of the hardest parts of that first part.
Really? Oh,
Yeah, of the game. And I just remember,
I was just gonna say it's so
hardest
cool. Where
time.
it's like, that's a gameplay level, and you're seeing it play out in the TV show medium, and yet it's like having the same effect of how it should be. But because sometimes I watch like it's IGN that has it where like they do a comparison of how it was in the video game and the TV show. And when I watched that video, it's like, oh, so that was actually like a gameplay moment scenario where you had to be on that tower with the sniper rifle, which was cool.
Same thing with, when they're in that Boston museum and they're trying to sneak around. Yeah, that one gave me flashbacks because that's the gameplay part of the television series. And I believe that's the first time that there's no tutorial. You're just sneaking around with trying to get around all of the infected. Yeah.
Wow.
So that one gave me flashbacks too.
Not good ones though.
Yeah.
It's definitely. I mean, my video game playing. I only got a little open space right now, but it's going to be booked for the foreseeable future. Once Jedi Fall or Jedi Survivor comes out in April, then just 2 weeks after that is Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and then just a month after that's Final Fantasy 16. And you know how long it already takes me to beat video games, so I might have a small window to play before April. So that's the cutoff point I have for that before that long stretch of game comes out. But maybe I can squeeze it in there.
Why don't you just play multiple games, Tim?
I just don't like doing that. Not enough time to do it, and then I just like going back and forth, unless it's like a casual type game where I can just throw in and play for a little bit.
Well,
because I played that game just the surprise release of the game Hi-Fi Rush for the Xbox. That game was super fun. That was like a really nice surprise to get. But then the GoldenEye remaster came out, so I was going back and forth between those two, particularly when I was sick, because with GoldenEye I played a million times before on the N64, so it's not like, and not a super long experience either. So I was going back and forth between that and Hi-Fi Rush. But
how is that GoldenEye remake?
It was surprisingly good. The controls felt really good. I heard that not the Switch version. The Switch controls are really messed up, but on Xbox, it plays like a modern first-person shooter would, which was good. And it's not a full-blown remake where it's like it's new graphic models and a graphics engine. They just upscaled the existing graphics to HD, but it looks clean. It looks good. It's kind of the perfect way to revisit that nostalgia and just have it look cleaner and feel more modern in its controls. So it was a blast revisiting it. It felt really, really good.
I see.
The only downside is you can't play online on the Xbox. It's only online on the Switch.
Oh, I see. I don't know. I was hesitant on that one.
No, if you still got Game Pass, might as well get it.
Yeah.
Also, that Hi-Fi Rush, that game was just super fun. It was like so funny too.
Really?
It was like, the art style of it's great. It's like you're watching an anime, but the characters are really funny and great too. It's just like a refreshing gaming experience that
I was gonna
we
say
don't get too much of nowadays.
That's not the vampire one, is it?
No,
Okay. Yeah, you can't do zombies. I can't do vampires.
Yeah. I'm not too keen on vampires either. I think that's been played to death as well. So you're not alone on that.
Yeah.
But that's what we've been up to as far as our entertainment viewing and game playing since 2023 kicked off. I don't know, but you been playing anything recently, Dane?
No, not really. There hasn't really been any games that I've been interested in. I know that Harry Potter one came out, but I'm not too interested on that.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about getting Forspoken, but the reviews haven't been too good for that one.
Yeah, same thing with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're looking for some do you still have Game Pass on Xbox, or did you unsubscribe for that?
Yeah, I still have it.
Yeah, try that Hi-Fi Rush. Let me know, because it's a rhythm-based action game.
Let me take a look at it real quick. Oh, it's like really anime.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
it's clever though.
Oh, this is the rollerblading one.
No, there's no rollerblading.
Oh, I thought it was the rollerblading.
No,
No.
I think you're thinking of Jet Set Radio Future, or because I think it did get compared to that, but it's totally different. It's like the premise of it, you're having a surgery to get a robotic arm placed, but then an accident happens and like your iPod gets attached to your chest, so like your powers are coming from an iPod that's been surgically inserted in your chest.
I see.
Crazy stuff like that.
Yeah, okay, well, I'll check it out then. Wow, I got a 9 out of 10 from IGN.
Yeah, it's got good reviews too. It was such a surprise release. They just announced it and then, it's out today. So I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. And I got addicted to it.
You know, IGN gave The Last of Us television show 9 out of 10 too, right?
Hmm.
I was just wondering, like, what was that 1 point taken off for?
Yeah. I couldn't find a fault in this last episode. That's for darn sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that's going to do it for our return episode, our first of 2023. So this episode was a good one, I think. So I guess it's not Tim's fault after all. It's Dane's success.
Yeah, it's going to be our name for our next show name.
Okay,
next
there
year.
you go. 2024, Dane's success. All right. Well, I guess with that, I'll go ahead and throw it to you, Dane, for the outro.
All right, go over to the BatmanUniverse.net, Facebook.com/BatmanUniverse, Twitter handles @BatmanUniverse, Tim's Twitter handles @TimG311, or his new Twitter handles @TimG. It's all his fault.
I wonder if that's taken.
It's probably too long. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. My Twitter handles @DaneSaysBanana, rate and reviews on iTunes. iTunes, it doesn't exist anymore. It's Apple Podcasts. And if you want to email the show, you can email the show at batfanswithoutpants@gmail.com. So with that, I can say at the end of every single episode, Tim.
We love each and every one of you with all of our hearts, no matter how late in our hearts may be in telling you that.
Oh, Tim. You're telling everybody that you love them, even though you don't show up for them.
The love is still there, even though we don't show up.
All right.
Hopefully they still felt it.
See you guys next time.
See you next time, everybody.